Hello, Mel here to give you my first impression for the latest episode of the Flash ZW series. These are my impressions. Since I avoid spoilers, I'm usually unaware of cast announcements that may undo or prove me wrong later. Um, because of the recent holidays of Thanksgiving, I apologize. Episode 2 and 3 are going to be put together. After this, I'll be able to put them out each week on time. So I apologize for the tardiness of the episode 2 review. Once again, since this is the first impression, I didn't um, look into it or look into spoilers or anything like that, and just to make sure it's still a good first impression. So let's get started. All right, so let's do episode 2 first. Joe West isn't dead. I'm not sure if anyone thinks Joe West is dead. I am extremely positive by the end of the season or even a mid-season finale, he's going to be back alive. So not really worried about that. Um, as far as once again, we're still in episode 2. Seeing Black Lightning at the end was cool. It was great to see him because, of course, the show wasn't renewed for this year. So it's always good to see Jefferson Pierce around. Uh, moving on to Despero, he is a lot more heroic than he was in the other series, the cartoons and the comics. It almost feels like he legitimately wants to protect this world and doesn't want Flash to go bad. So it is interesting. I mean, he's a lot more, a lot less of a villain this time around. But obviously, he still doesn't mind killing. So there you go with that. Back to Joe West and the reveal that Joe West is dead. When Barry brought up Joe West and gave him this horrified look, like, dude, that's not funny. Um, why would they think he was joking? I mean, you could look on his face and he legitimately. I mean, worst case scenario, I would say, "Hey Barry, you okay? You remember Joe West died?" I wouldn't say, "Oh, all of a sudden Barry is a callous jokester." I mean, they've known Barry in theory longer than we have, so that should have. I'm not a fan of that. Um, we got a little flashback, or sorry, a history on Chester that he set his friend's house on fire, trying to build a ray gun. But last time I checked, when you set a house on fire by mistake, the authorities are a lot. They keep the eye on you a lot more if you don't go to jail or a juvie or what have you. So, and he obviously doesn't have the makings of someone that's in trouble with the law. So maybe he never got in trouble for it. Maybe the authorities never found out. Just thought that was a interesting little feedback for him, or interesting tidbit rather for him. When Kramer took away the Barry's badge and she asked for it, I do appreciate that she was by the book. Although I now wonder if that was Joe in his place. You know, of course, Joe loves Barry. Would Joe have still asked for his badge? And Joe is a good cop, so I think he might have still asked Barry for the badge. Or knowing Joe, he would probably have said, "Hey, you got 10 minutes, or you got an hour, or some arbitrary timeline." But I think at the end of the day, Joe would have followed the law too, so it wouldn't have just been Kramer. Speaking of the trauma conga line of Barry's bad misfortunes, when the base of operations got ransacked by the cops because of the radiation leak, and no one believed in cloud backup. These are the same people who could build a super suit at the drop of a hat, but they don't have backup. They don't have backup in case the hardware is compromised. I find it hard to believe, but I think I hear something. You guys hear that? This is the plot minion. Can you see him? This is the plot minion, the minion of plot. The plot minion, he's always here when the plot has to happen no matter what. We have to follow the plot even though it doesn't make sense. I think this was a plot minion situation. So the plot minion, he makes his debut here in this episode. All right, and then the last thing is Barry finds out that the bad guy is a mind-based villain and can do psychic attacks, and the way he prepares for it is just by running head on into the bad guy. I think that was crazy. I think this is one of those situations where we just need Barry to run in, Barry to have a not succeed the first time, so the second time he can go do a oh he did it hero's journey. Because now you think about it, every episode has the formula of Barry losing the first time, and then just like Smallville back in the day, Clark does what he can, and then somehow, some way, that person has kryptonite around, and so Clark has to regroup. I don't think the plot minion is here on that one. I think that's a formula thing there, but maybe maybe in the next few episodes we might decide that that's a plot minion thing also. All right, so that's the end of episode 2. Now let's move in episode 3. Which this thing here could have also been part of episode 2. Cecile is crazier than normal, correct? I mean, I've always kind of been a Cecile fan, but now I think it's part of the plot, but she is just crazy. I get that having a husband die must do something to you, but I mean, the thought that Joe West might be alive is should be something that, hey, maybe she wants to look into. I mean, not to mention, when's the last time Barry was wrong? But let's move away from that one. Flash losing his powers was the point of what he wanted Jefferson to do. I'm glad we didn't go along with that because Flash losing his powers is never something great, and basically it's called the Flash, so it's just a matter of when does he get his powers again. So it's just who wants to see it. All right, so I'm glad we got away from that. It was good seeing Top again, and I thought Despero killed her when she fell down on the ground. I said, "Oh, they killed her off," because she was not as great as Abracadabra, and they killed him off with no problems. Of course, that might be because the actor was going to be in a Suicide Squad movie, and they don't want to confuse him. is he is he Abracadabra or is he Bubble Boy or whatever his name was, Polka Dot Man in the movie? So, but yeah, the fact that she didn't die and she survived, small win for Team Flash. Speaking of Team Flash, this whole part, the past two episodes, the whole guys, you gotta believe me, and them not giving him the benefit of the doubt, except for maybe Iris and Allegra. I really not a fan of that. The whole guys, you gotta believe me. Oh yeah, it's the hero of the show who's been right every single episode. And actually, I think that's yep, 2 times in one review. Plot minion. It's the minion of plot, just here to make the show work. In reality, this shouldn't have happened. The plot minion reared his ugly head. That's the only reason this is happening. Any other situation, the guys would have believed him, but we need the plot minion. So Barry is without Team Flash, and he only feels he could turn to Jefferson. And then going back to Jefferson, would why wouldn't Dion and Jefferson stop Despero when literally they could have saved the day when Flash left, and Despero could easily stop. I mean, Dion could easily stop Despero with his powers, and that could have been into that problem right there. Uh, Despero stopped in time. Black Lightning flashes him with his with the lightning, and that's the end of that. But man, might have to bring the plot minion out for that one, but I'm not going to. All right, and back to Despero. Why? How does his powers allow him to absorb the power from a particle accelerator? I'm not sure how mind powers translates to that, but maybe as part of his psychic alien powers that I've never heard of, but they didn't mention before, and they probably won't mention again. But okay, let's just move on away from that one. And then, when Barry goes into back into the time, I mean, sorry, goes to the future. and we figure out Reverse Flash is behind it. It's okay. It makes sense that someone who could manipulate time would be involved. But now the fact that he has negative still powers, uh, sure. Let's give Reverse Flash new powers the plot demands. I'm not going to bring out the plot minion on that one, but I think we should. But that, okay, so he's messing with Flash again. This brings me to the thing I hate the most about this whole episode. Why in the world would Iris be with him? Fine, Barry's crazy and Barry's dead, or wherever Barry is in the future. Why in the world would she go after a proven known villain? Barry's, fine, Barry screwed up, but Reverse Flash has a way worse track record than her. And not to mention, did she forget about her kids? Like, what's going on? So yeah, I hate that. Um, there's no reason for her to be with Reverse Flash, but I'm told in the comics that in the Silver Age Flash comics, Reverse Flash was obsessed with Iris. So maybe that's this. But yeah, wasn't a fan of that. But yeah, other than that, I think we're going to wrap this up. A few notes from what I knew about what I do know about casting. I know that they needed to bring somebody in from Supergirl to make it legitimate, the threat of Despero. They were filming the Supergirl series finale, so that's why they got Alex to do a teleconference with them. And then as far as the legends, I do know that there's something going on with the legends, although they're time-based heroes, so in theory they could fine. But the legends, the plot of this season of Legends say that they can't go to the timeline or go to where Flash is right now. So that would have been explained if we were fans of Legends. Maybe some of you are. All right. So other than that, I think we're going to call it a day. Hope you guys like the episodes. I like Flash. It's one of my favorite shows. So let me know. Let me know what you guys think. If you can, TP at feedback. I believe I really need to get a closing statement for this review. So I will episode 4. I'll have the proper housekeeping for you guys. But stay great. Go Jaguars. Go Jaguars. Go Gators. And see you guys soon. Bye.